Hello and welcome to week 3. I hope you are enjoying the class so far. Uh, some interesting discussion, so it seems like you're getting a lot out of it. And I hope that these little video sessions help and contribute to your understanding of the topic for this week. So this week we're looking at Chapter 10, Marketing and Communications, and some of the issues related to this. I think, as usual, this text does a really good job of highlighting the special aspects of taking these concepts and applying them in the nonprofit world. You know, when I first started in this field some 40 years ago, the word marketing, I had never heard it. I had never heard it in my education as a social worker. I never heard it in the places that I worked at. I mean, the common terminology was public relations. And so, but now, because of the reasons we discussed in the first 2 weeks leading up to this regarding the need to be more business-like, marketing is being integrated into the way nonprofits operate, the way they get their message out, and the way they serve people. So there's always been a lot of misunderstandings and concerns. The reason why it was a dirty word is because most people feel compared to delivering a mission and values, selling something is kind of the opposite. The idea of having a product mindset, a sales mindset, is important in this day and age, and so we talk about things about being excellent, about being entrepreneurial. A sales mindset, you're going to hear a lot throughout this course about the customer, the client. That is who we orient what we do towards, what they value and want, as you will see later on in the Drucker tool. The target audience is broad, but segmenting the audience, marketing it, looking at it from the outside in is a way to do that. And the value proposition, that how do you market your mission? How do you mix marketing and mission? It can be done. Now, you all have probably studied the 4 P's, the marketing mix of product, but here in nonprofits we're talking about operationalizing the intangibles. Place, meeting customer needs and wants, and that will be one of your activities for this week in your group project. Promotion, the one that I like the best is segmenting the market, so that you don't just do counseling. You do counseling to child abuse victims. You do it to marital couples. You do domestic violence. How do you segment what you have? And price, defining the exchange. Now, the thing about price is you better be right. If your marketing is highly dependent on price and cost, you better be right, because if you have the wrong price, you're going to be stuck with that, and that's the kind of financial mistake that could drive an organization into real problems. We also, closely related in my mind to mission, is building the brand. So here we're talking about the attributes, the promise, the image value of the organization. There's a nice tool in your text called the Integrated Marketing Communication, which has a lot of the dimensions that you want to pay attention to in doing this kind of work. And CRAM, which is, I really like this in the text, communicate a message, promise a reward, inspire an action, and embed it in the memory of those you're conveying it to. And the way I would summarize this chapter is market orientation as social orientation, meaning having an external focus, achieves greater financial support and client satisfaction in the end. Kotler, who wrote, Kotler and Andreessen wrote the text, the Bible on nonprofit marketing, talk about the uniqueness of the nonprofit market, and You could read some of this, which reemphasizes topics in the chapter as well as what we discussed in the first 2 weeks of how the intangibilities, the third party issues really impact marketing. This also comes from Kotler and Andreessen, and what I really like is it talks about needs, wants, and intentions. So needs are basic satisfier, wants are the specific satisfier of the needs, and intentions are the decisions to acquire a product or service to satisfy a want. So, for an example, we all need to have clothing, but we want different types of clothing, whether it's a brand name or it's a store brand, and influencing that is where marketing comes in. So these are the various ways in which you can market: a customer orientation versus product, production, sales. As I've already said, I lean towards the customer orientation, as do most strategies these days. The competitive strategies that one uses in the nonprofit sector, differentiating what you have, having the cost leadership, having a focus or a propitious niche, that place where you're going to be more successful, as I talked about in strategic scenario planning, where the greatest opportunity is from the external environment matched to the biggest internal strength that you have. Marketing mix, you all have studied the 4 Ps, I'm sure, very much. Some other thoughts about nonprofit marketing from the various people that I have relied on over the years. Drucker, know your market, know what you're selling, sell values, focus on strengths, know and create customers. So even when you're talking about developing public contracts, I have some 45 different public contracts at the city, state, federal level, but each of those come down to working with a person and cultivating that relationship, just as in any business relationship. I like Kotler's term of finds needs and fulfill them. How? By studying, segmenting, targeting, positioning, summed up in his statement. You harmonize the needs and wants of the outside world with the purposes, objectives, and resources of the organization. External opportunity, internal strength. And finally, Peter's expectations are what people buy, not things. So always remember that. So when you walk through that department store and you walk past that women's section with all the perfume and they're spraying all that perfume, they're not selling you the perfume. What are they selling you? They're selling you a lifestyle. They're selling you sex. They're selling you that you're going to be attractive because of this perfume. It's the expectation that people buy. And we need to incorporate that thinking into our mission orientation. Excuse me. What do we have that's marketable? So this is the needs and wants. So I want you to think about, in terms of the nonprofit you're developing, what is the need that that nonprofit is going to address? So you've worked on your mission statement. So now think about it in terms of what's the basic need that it's going to address, and why is it that people are going to want what you have to satisfy that need? That's where this marketing proposition comes in. The Drucker tool that I presented to you, Drucker built a whole book on strategic planning based on this tool. He said what you need to do in a nonprofit is analyze these 5 things. What's your mission? Who are your customers? What do your customers value? And what have been your results in relation to that? And as a result, he has this workbook which has these worksheets which you go through, which basically take you through this process, and you can answer these questions yourself in terms of the topic that you've chosen for your nonprofit, in terms of what results are you seeking, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, who are your primary customers, who are your supporting customers, because we have multiple customers as we've discussed in session 1, and what do each of these customers value? What have been your results in relation to meeting these values? And finally, out of that becomes your plan as to how you're going to make it all happen. So I hope this helps a little bit in bringing home the marketing issues that we face in the nonprofit sector, and some of not just the theory but the practices we have established in incorporating both a market and a mission orientation into delivering our services.